All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, last week, tight end Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement from the National Football League. In 11 NFL seasons, Gronk made 5 Pro Bowls while he is acknowledged by many observers as the greatest tight end in league history. At 6'6", Gronk has always been a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses as he was too quick for most opposing linebackers and too big for safeties. Also, when you think about it, Gronkowski, could be a hell of a run blocker at times. You think about it, a lot of times, especially with the Patriots, they just lined him up at the end, and what he became was another offensive tackle out there, and it was kind of like smash mouth old school football. But that was the case because Rob would get down in that 3 point stance, and of course Gronk would be off to the races after that. You think about what he accomplished throughout his career. 4 time Super Bowl champion, 3 with the New England Patriots, and then 1 more with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple of years ago. But overall, 621 career receptions, 9,286 receiving yards, and 92 career touchdowns. You're talking about a guy who is a 5 time Pro Bowler. But at the end of the day, when Gronk called it a career last week, you have to ask yourself, was that truly it? And I say that just from the standpoint that we saw Gronk retire in 2019, partially due to his clashing with Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. Then we saw Gronk resurface with the Bucks in 2020. Of course, when Tom Brady left New England in free agency to sign with Tampa, and then of course Gronk, had a solid year with the Patriots. Pardon me, with the Bucks in 2020. 45 receptions for 623 yards with 7 TDs. And of course, he had a big time evening in Super Bowl 55 when the Bucks defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, on top of that, you just think about this guy. I mean, he's 33 years of age, but has the wear and tear of the way that he plays football finally caught up to him. Because let's not forget, Gronk has missed his fair share of time over the years with injuries, whether it was a broken forearm, knee injuries, back, you name it. And at some point, that check is going to come due. So I look at it like this. I mean, granted, the last couple of years, it was not vintage Rob Gronkowski in the prime of his career, but nonetheless, still Gronk at this point in his career is still better than about 2/3 of the tight ends in the NFL. I mean, he's still very viable in the red zone. He's somebody that if you do not pay attention to him, he can burn you. And make no mistake about it, Tom Brady, it's kind of like, Gronk is his BFF. He knows where to find him. Gronk knows how to go out there and catch those balls for Brady. And of course, the rest is history. Now, speaking of Tom Brady, could he possibly coax Gronk out of retirement to make 1 more run at the Super Bowl? Now, if Tom Brady cannot do it, nobody can, because I don't see a scenario, just for the sake of argument, if Gronk were to come back where he's playing for another quarterback. The synergy between him and Tom Brady is second to none. They complete each other's sentences, you name it. But make no mistake about it. If this is truly it for Gronk, I'll tell you like this. You think about some of the greatest tight ends to have ever played this game. Mike Ditka, Jackie Smith, Jerry Smith, Ozzie Newsome, Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp, just to name a few. They all take a back seat to Rob Gronkowski, and that's not taking anything away from those guys because there's a generation out there that really they don't understand how good that Mike Ditka was as a tight end in the 60s for the Bears, for the Eagles, and the Cowboys. You think about Jerry Smith and what he meant to Washington. You think about Ozzie Newsome for so many years with Cleveland, Tony Gonzalez for so many years, and then, of course, Shannon Sharp, and then Jackie Smith, who spent the majority of his career with the St. Louis Cardinals. Gronk is the complete package as a tight end, being able to catch the ball, do damage after catching the ball. Because you think about like Gronk in the prime of his career, very rarely was he ever brought down by one defender. It was a like it really took tackling, excuse me, to go out there and take care of Gronk. So when it's all said and done, if this is truly it or not, we don't know. But it won't be a matter of if, but more like when Rob Gronkowski goes in the can. And I'll tell you like this: if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know what to say. I mean, Shannon Sharp wasn't, and I think that was very disgusting that he didn't get in it the first time. But make no mistake, if Gronk doesn't get in, at least in the first time, I don't know what to say. But at the end of the day, if Tom Brady cannot convince Gronk to come out of retirement at some point this year, I don't see it happening. I don't see him taking another year off and coming back at 34. I don't see him taking 2 years off and coming back at 35. If this is truly it, at the end of the day, you just have to tip your cap to one of the best that ever did it. And of course, the best, in my opinion, tight end to ever lace him up in the National Football League. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.